Chances are you're watching this video and you're in your 20s. Either you just stepped in, or same as me, which is heading towards the end of my 20s. I think 20s is perhaps the best age you can experience in your life. You just graduated from school, having a brief taste of the society and the real world that we are living in. You don't know what to expect. You might read a lot of books or watched a lot of films that tells you that what adult life is all about. But I wish life is as organized and logical as what they show in books and films. I came to Australia when I was 13 years old, from a pretty much non-English speaking culture to an English speaking country. I felt a culture shock for a long time. I don't know who I am. What do I want to do with my life? Plus the language barrier, I barely had any friends in this completely new environment. I felt lost after I finished school, totally miserable. All I know back then was I need to work and make money. Since I don't know what I want to do, so I tried all kinds of jobs. Start from the restaurant, reception, to a warehouse worker, delivery driver, you name it. So fast forward to recent years, with all the social media platforms, people's anxiety has reached an all-time high. We always see topics like self-made millionaire by the age of 19, e-commerce business owner earning over 100,000 a month, how this 21-year-old traveled the world and making $500,000 a year. These social media titles created unnecessary pressure and stress on our young generation. We've been conditioned to believe that these are the new norm. If you don't achieve this by now, you are behind in life. There are two directions people will take after seeing these stories. Either they take this as motivation and create something amazing, or get demotivated even more and don't know what to do. And sadly, most people tend to go for the second route. And trust me, I've been there before. Or should I say, I've been thinking about it a lot recently and still trying to figure it out. I think I might have something that I think is worth sharing with you. You always hear people say, life is a journey, enjoy the process, not the destination. After hearing for so many times, I feel like it's so cliche. But with my 20s coming to an end, and when I look back the last decade, I definitely don't think this is cliche at all. People you've met, things you've done, places you've been traveled to, they make who you are today. You might not liking everyone you've met or every place you've been to, but you've learned something from them, and that becomes part of you that you wouldn't erase. Some people that you met taught you why it's so important to be nice and supportive to others. Some places you've been to might taught you need to appreciate what you have now. Lastly, develop a hobby. Find something you love doing. It should be an escape. It can entertain you on your spare time, and hopefully you can make a living out of it in the future. Sometimes we have to do things that we don't like, so it could pay the bills. But if you don't develop a hobby on the side and doing something that you're truly passionate about, then you might have to do what you don't like for the rest of your life, which I don't think that's what you want. If you're in your early 20s or late 20s and trying to figure out what you want to do, let me tell you something. You won't. It's not being discouraging. In fact, you should be happy, because the only reason is you are constantly changing and growing. Especially with internet and YouTube nowadays, it's so much easier to learn new things. What you like a year ago, if you look back now, chances are you are no longer super into it like before, which is not a bad thing. I was super into fitness and bodybuilding during my early to mid 20s. 6 meals a day, never missed a meal or a workout. I was dedicated. But now, I couldn't do those anymore because my focus has shifted. I have something more important, I think, in my life rather than bodybuilding was the life. But guess what? There's nothing wrong with it. It simply we changed and grew. If you are in your 20s and still feel lost and confused, don't worry. I got some good news for you. You will not only be confused in your 20s, you will be lost and confused in your 30s, 40s, or even 50s. We're constantly learning, growing. Our perspective of life changes. What we think is right today could be totally the opposite tomorrow. But that's the beauty of our life, evolving. As someone whose 20s almost comes to an end, my advice for you is absorb as much as you can, meet as many people as you can, travel as many places as you can, and learn as many skills as you can. Fulfill every corner of your chapters in your 20s. Go out, have some fun, because you only get to live your 20s once.